Hello, Robots in Disguise fans. Welcome back to the AFTERBUZZ TV Transformers Robots in Disguise After Show. We are looking at Season 4, Episode 24, 5 Fugitives. We are running from the law on this one, and team, it is time to rev up and roll out.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
3 of us are in costume as people who survived the 405.
Yep. Yes, actually. Very true.
I've seen things.
Do you know how Sideswipe Sphere is claustrophobia and we had that image of him stuck in traffic and going crazy like seasons
That
ago?
was definitely us.
Yeah.
That's called art imitating life.
That is called everyone in LA going, and everyone outside of it going, what's the 405?
And why do you guys put
A
the in front
five-lane
of your
traffic?
freeways?
In
in front of your freeways.
405.
Because we're weird humans.
No, that's the right way to say it.
Oh, okay, well. Hold on.
We're going to start a war in the comments section and we need to not do that.
I stand by my previous statement.
Nice.
Hello everyone, like we said before the titles, we are the AFTERBUZZ TV Robots in Disguise After Show. We are looking at Season 4, Episode 24, 5 Fugitives. We are already having a grand old time with the music today. So let's get this rolling. I have with me Alexis, the Wrecker Torres.
Hey guys, well I'm not wrecking anything because I'm Roxanne today. I'm very dedicated.
It's your intro.
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. You guys can find me all over social media at atorres890. That's ATORRES 890.
Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
And I am Katie Kia Prime Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias at Kiaxet. That is KIAXET. We have the hashtag ABTVRID. We have a live chat. For those of you watching live, hello, we see you. If you have anything fun you want to say, if you have any Photoshops or questions for our special guest, throw them in the hashtag, throw them in the live chat. You may well get a shout out. And speaking of our special guest, joining us tonight is writer Adam Beechen. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me back.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm decompressing after spending time on the 405.
Oh, the one and only.
It's not just a 405.
It is
the
405.
Oh, I love it.
All right, so let's get right into this because this episode was a lot of fun.
I love
Go ahead. Start us off, Megan. Start us off.
I said earlier in the season that the detective episode for Strongarm has been like probably my favorite episode in this entire season. That being said, I never thought we were actually going to get to see her mentor.
Yeah.
So this entire episode was a huge treat for me.
Well, we watched this together per usual, and I was just watching you smile every time he said something old-timey detective-y. You were just like,
Is that the scientific term for it?
yes, yes it
I
is.
believe those are the technical terms. As the writer of this episode, can you confirm, are those the correct technical terms to describe the way he talks?
Those are indeed the correct technical terms. In fact, we had in the scene descriptions old-timey detective talk, sort of as a parenthetical every time he spoke. Yes. Actually, I think all we said was in Bogart's voice.
Nice.
We were off.
That makes sense.
That was the only direction he got.
Yeah, pretty
It was like,
close.
literally, just do a Humphrey Bogart. I love that.
We're going to cast based on your best Bogart impersonation. Okay, let's do this.
Yep. We listened to a lot of Bogart impersonations before we got to the actor that we chose, and we were very pleased with who we chose.
Oh.
He did a great job.
He did, didn't he?
Yep. Now that you've said that, though, like, now I'm just picturing him looking at Strongarm going, you know, the problems of a bunch of Autobots don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world.
I was actually half expecting him to say something like that. So.
Here's looking at you, Scoot.
Aww.
One of her
We'll
many,
always
many
have
nicknames.
the Academy.
Yeah. I actually do want to see the list of her nicknames. Like,
We
I
have
think it'd be
2.
fun.
There's only 9 more.
Yeah.
You know,
Still want to see it. Want physical proof.
So we have them showing up pretty much out of the blue.
Yeah.
Not what I was expecting from this episode when we start with a Steeljaw chase. We're here to arrest you for things you did 3.5 seasons ago. I'm sorry, what?
it takes a while. It takes a while to get somebody from A to B, especially if there's other circumstances that are applying to how certain robots might be behaving.
Oh, Oh, Cybertron, what is wrong with you?
I
wanna
have
know.
so many questions.
I have 3 answers.
Well,
Huh? What?
obviously-
Maybe.
Obviously, we don't want any spoilers for the episodes that haven't occurred yet this season. However, because they, we've always known that Bee and company were cops, and yet I never bothered to really dig into what the judicial process on Cybertron looked like, and now I want a spin-off show all about
Dum, dum.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
the
In the
legal
Cybertronian
procedural.
justice system.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does a Cybertronian lawyer look like?
They're
Got
all
the-
Decepticons.
With the wig. Yeah.
They've got the big golden eagles on their shoulder pads.
I want it.
And
Steeljaw
the
would
law.
make a great lawyer, though.
Oh, wouldn't
Oh,
he?
yeah.
You're right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My friend.
Brothers.
Countrymen.
Oh, I love it.
Lend me your audio receptors.
The show really writes itself.
It kind of does.
Favorite new spin-off idea. Hasbro, I hope you're listening.
Law and Order Cybertron.
Yeah, I'm down.
That would be the best.
down.
Instead of the doink doink, it's the transforming noise.
Hey, I will also be okay with that.
We have, I think the part of this that surprised me the most was not only the fact that we have mind control using certain frequencies, but that it was dropped like it's something to be expected. Like, oh, you're being mind controlled. How is this not a bigger issue to everyone? Is this a known problem? Is this just what people do? Is this why minicons are kept in a constant state of subservience?
Oh,
dark.
That's terrible.
There has always been a dark underbelly to this show.
No, and I completely agree with you on that, but I also feel like because the fact of just how shady Cybertronian is, anything is, I feel like mind control is just I don't want to say drugs, but the fact that it's just a thing that happens. It's
we
that's
had
the
it
crime.
during the war.
Said slipped us a Mickey.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like that is a common thing.
That means
It's like,
there's a colloquial term for it on Cybertron.
And it's the same one as there is here.
yeah.
Strange.
Weird. But yeah, no. What?
No, I love watching Katie just laugh.
No, I'm just remembering your face from last night when you said that.
Because I was whoa!
so happy.
I didn't know you could say that in a kid's show.
But kids wouldn't know what that means, at all.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where the adults kind of smile and the kids go, huh. And then if you're lucky, they don't ask.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Okay, I thought you were gonna
Nothing.
I was gonna make a Mickey Mouse joke.
No!
but I was like,
Oh, God, no!
I'm good. I'm good.
No.
I'm good. Gonna take that one back.
Yeah.
So we once again go back to what is wrong on Cybertron.
Again, this form of mind control, as far as other types of mind control goes, is actually pretty tame. He still maintains a decent amount of autonomy, and he's not a zombie.
No, you're
That's a
correct.
plus.
No, but
but I
I'd
love-
say it's even more insidious because he's not able to catch that there's really anything wrong with him. It's just no, this is business as normal. And it takes Strongarm, who's known him for forever, to say, this is wrong. He's too high up in the works for them to send him on what would essentially be a milk run. This is traffic ticket style stuff. Someone of his caliber should not be arresting people on disturbing the peace charges, essentially. And destruction of property, but besides
Yeah, it's property.
yeah.
Eh.
But I liked it though because the fact that he also kept repeating the same line too, which also reminded me of Hot Fuzz, where it's for the greater good.
The greater good.
Yeah, so it was kind of that whole. At least that's what inspired me, at least on that, because the fact that they did believe that this is for the greater good, and that
The
even though
greater good.
The council knows best.
Exactly.
Oh!
Yeah, and that's what it gave me chills of the fact of the greater good, but the council knows best, and I just saw a bunch of people whispering, "The council knows best."
All those shadowy voices in silhouette.
Yeah.
Somewhere, Shockwave is just intoning this.
Do you guys have
Yes.
a bot on Cybertron voiced by Timothy Dalton?
We do not have Timothy Dalton, but we do have a guest voice coming up that I'm very, very happy with.
Okay, but isn't that like every guest voice, though?
Yes. But this was somebody that the part was written especially for.
Really?
And we were lucky enough to get this actor to actually participate. And it was a lot of fun.
That's
a lot of
awesome.
fun.
So Tim Curry.
Tim, I've actually worked with Tim Curry. Worked with
Really?
him on the Wild Thornberries years ago.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this, it is not Tim Curry. It is not Timothy Dalton. It's nobody named Tim.
It's nobody named Tim.
There are no
Okay.
Tims involved.
We can strike off all the Tims from our potential list.
That hurts. But it's okay, I'm
Spyro
excited.
in chat says Mark Hamill.
Also not a Tim.
Also not a Tim.
That's a really good point.
Good observation, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, that usually, I'm guessing it usually happens the other way around. Then you guys write a character and then audition and find the right voice. So that must be a treat doing it the other way around.
There have been, that I can remember, 3 occasions in the run of this show where we wrote parts specifically for certain actors. And in all 3 cases, we were able to get them. The actor that will be coming up, Robin Wiegert, who played, I can't remember the character's name, the Porcupine Prospector character.
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And she had played
yeah,
Calamity Jane
Shatterspike?
on
Was-
something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And she had played Calamity Jane on Deadwood. And so it was written just
That
for
makes
her.
sense.
And then Lori Petty, who came in and played Nitra, who was Strongarm's former best friend from Academy days.
Yes.
So we've been really lucky. We've been really fortunate with all of the actors, whether we've written parts for them or not.
That's so cool. Yeah, no, the voice cast has always been phenomenal,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
even for all the one-off guests, Decepticons that are just here for an episode and then gone, like it's still. I think there was a Sharkticon once where we were like, who does the voice for that character? Because gosh, it's chilling.
Yeah, the
Fantastic.
incredibly scientific one.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I appreciated the pirate, not gonna lie.
He was great too. But talking about this season, I know it's too early to really kind of get into like a full season recap, but since we have you
I
here,
was gonna say we're 2
I was
episodes
like,
from the end.
might as well do it.
So early.
It's so early. What are we gonna do?
can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Yes, please.
How dare you?
There are 2 things I want to. First of all, Strongarm has gotten a lot of backstory in this season. But I'd say the person who has the most character development is Sideswipe. Now, I was wondering from like a
Grr.
writer's room perspective, how did you guys want to approach both of those things?
Well, I think we wanted to develop all of our characters a little more in this season. And the benefit of having a 4th season is that you have the time to explore the individual characters and their histories a little more than you would with all the plot-oriented stuff in the first 3 seasons. Also, for season 4, we had 2 new story editors working on the show, Johnny Hartman and Guy Tobis. And they both were big proponents of the idea of getting more into some of our characters' backgrounds. So we let them run with those ideas a little more, and we came up with some really fun stuff, I think.
Well, thank you for that. That was amazing.
Oh, well, I'm glad you like it.
Sideswipe's backstory just kind of wrecked all of us. Less backstory and more awful fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, the past 2.5 seasons make so much horrifying sense.
Yeah, especially because
Oh.
like if for people who have been watching our after show, like Sideswipe and I just like we're just not on the same page because he reminds me a lot of my brothers who are very hard-headed and stuff, and they're like
I'm just gonna do this thing.
yeah, and I'm
regardless
like,
of the
no,
consequences."
there's consequences. so, but deep down, I mean, obviously his backstory is not the same as my brother's, but I appreciated that there was actually. I thought you were sipping tea back there, like,
That's
Alexis.
none of my- that's none of my
You sure
business.
you didn't find your brothers abandoned on the street
I
wrapping
mean,
statues?
maybe.
or...
I tell my brother. I mean, I tell my mom all the
your
time. I'm like,
brothers
they're adopted,
Are
right?
they robots?
Well, one of them is. But
Oh.
love you. But no, it's just really nice to actually see the fact that even though he's acting out, there is a reason for why he's acting out.
Yeah, we didn't want him to just be another generic wisecracking loner, cool kid.
Yeah.
We wanted there to be reasons behind the things that he does. And the same for Strongarm, and the same for Grimlock, and anybody else who's in the show. And luckily this season we had the time to dig in a little more to that and
Right.
show it a little more without coming out and saying, I was abandoned or whatever. At the beginning of the episode of Exiles, which is our Saving Private Ryan opening episode.
Yes. Holy
The
smokes.
guys went to town on that one, and that was really a great way to show some of what Sideswipe's been through without having him actually have to talk about about it.
Visual
storytelling.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. We're really happy with that episode. That one really, that blew everybody's mind when we saw the animation come back on that.
Yeah, no, that one definitely smacked us all in the face.
Good. Yeah. Good. It was supposed to.
Yeah. It was like broken for like a week.
Oh.
Yeah.
What,
In a
only
good
a
I
way.
didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, no, in a good way.
Wow.
Maybe not a whole week, but definitely there.
Well, and I loved seeing more about Strongarm and getting her friend from the academy for one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's a
just
fantastic
God,
episode.
And another nickname.
and another
Yes.
nickname, yes.
Yeah.
But our non-verbal bounty hunter just, I think, representation.
Pretty good.
I keep coming back to that, but that was amazing.
Pretty good little twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one came out really well.
That was so good. And then having B recognize that it was Cybertronian sign language, because you had to learn that, didn't you, buddy?
Ouch.
Oh, we don't have to bring that back up. It's okay.
That's something that, like, kids who didn't watch Prime were
No?
like, oh, okay. And people who did were like, ah!
I'm triggered.
or any kids who got introduced, granted, it's not the best way to get introduced to the series, but any kids who get introduced to these characters via the movies,
Yes.
Yes.
that's a good little tidbit for them too.
Yep.
And also kind of, inspires kids, especially I know like a few of my nieces and nephews watched that episode and were like, I want to know why that's a thing or how does he know that, and then end up watching Prime. They're over the age of 12, so it's okay. But at the same time, if they were younger, I'd be like, maybe we'll
They're
wait.
not gonna have PTSD.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that
Yeah.
auntie. That's the worst. but I like that it sparked conversation.
Good.
Not to be funny there.
I mean, I have a friend who, when she was in elementary school, she wasn't mute or anything, but she didn't speak very much. Like, and so I appreciate that too, because it's like, hey, just because somebody doesn't talk a lot doesn't mean they don't have
Have
anything
nothing to
say.
say.
There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Yeah.
We should probably swing
right.
back into talking
All right.
about this
All
episode.
right.
Just
All
like,
right.
while we have you here, we're going to talk
just-
your ear off about how
I
much
just-
we've loved this.
Hey,
I just wanted to gush.
No, that was good.
I'm not going anywhere. It's all good.
Except back on the 405.
No.
Oh, why?
No.
Why would you bring that up?
To traumatize everyone.
I would
no.
rather hang out with the Cybertronian Council than go back on the 405 right now.
Well, the council does know what's best.
Every time, it's not going to get any better.
The greater good.
Greater good.
So we have, I love that we've reincorporated Denny and Russell into things. I love that they've come back to having a larger role in things. And I love that Denny just had half a dozen pitching machines.
That was a clever idea. I really
Yeah.
appreciated that.
I thought it was going to be one of them just banging on the hole, and I love that they rigged the one to cause attention and then the rest of them to just,
Yeah.
bless this show.
They're not just there to be damsels in distress.
Oh, no.
They're there, they can help out. They've got stuff that they can do to help. They're smart. They're actually active participants on the team.
Well, and I love how much they've picked up from Fix It about Cybertronian technology and being able to work the ground bridge and enter sequences to try to unlock the door. And just, I'm wondering if either of them are fluent in Cybertronian at this point, in the
God,
native
no.
language.
Oh, God, no. I mean, we showed them, I think, in one episode trying to figure out how to connect the robots when they're all out on different missions and that going horribly wrong. I think it's still a learning process for them, but they're getting better.
Yeah. Well, it's a good story point. I can talk, to bring back around from when this series initially started, where Fix It and Denny were actually like butting heads quite a bit, because Fix It didn't give them the benefit of the doubt to be able to figure things out. So I like seeing them come to the rescue every now and again.
It's different flavors of intelligence with enough Venn diagram overlap for them to be able to work together.
Right.
Yep.
And that is just fun to watch. Yeah, what went into making Drop Forge?
Yes. Besides Humphrey Bogart.
Well, that was really the start of it. I mean, we wanted to have, if you've noticed this season, we've got voices that harken back to classic characters in different movies and television shows. And so we've already had Jackie Gleason and Art Carney and from The Honeymooners, and we just thought Humphrey Bogart would be a fun voice that we haven't really approached in the course of the show, and it seemed to be appropriate for a character like Drop Forge. And but the notion of making it a mini-con was completely out of left field. I forget who suggested that, but that was brilliance.
That got me. That got me. I was like, oh my God, this guy's. Oh.
Well, just the way
Okay.
that Strongarm talks about him,
Yeah.
You
seems
expect
like
him
a
to be
larger
bulky
than life
size.
guy.
Yeah, that's what exactly what I was
Right.
assuming. So it was really nice seeing that little zoom, and I was like, oh,
Right.
that's nice.
And then you think, oh, well, he's really cute. And then he just kicks butt all over the place.
yeah.
Oh, it's so
he's
scary.
completely competent.
Yeah.
And so it was just a fun way to play with expectations of characters and then turn things around.
Yeah.
And just watching him go was incredible. And B has taken over Drift's role of getting his tailpipe handed to him to show that other people are competent.
Yeah. Just when Bumblebee thinks he's got everything figured out, he gets taken down a peg. But it keeps him humble.
Yeah.
Humblebee.
Humblebee. There you go.
Oh, no.
I like it.
I was just about to say I can relate, B, but now that pun has been said, I think goodbye.
And she's leaving. Great, my plan is working perfectly. The council knows best.
We're just gonna scream
Every time. It just gives it.
It's a Frau Blucher sort of thing.
No,
you know?
correct.
It is Halloween.
Yeah. And just I loved seeing, I suppose it's the vestiges of the relationship between Dropforge and Strongarm because we get to see where it would have been had he not been brainwashed. I keep coming back to that, like, yeah, sure, brainwashing, completely normal.
They are robots. I mean,
Yeah,
you just
I feel
move
like-
a couple wires.
You just reprogram them all the time. It's fine.
Makes you wonder when else that has happened.
All the time.
Oh yeah, especially because like they're still acting like in character and not
Yeah.
aware of it. Oh,
Hence
ooh.
brainwashing, not mind control. Because mind control is just kind of dance puppets dance,
What
but this
if
is
they've done
dance,
that to
puppet dance?
Optimus? He's like, "Hey, Drift, come on a secret mission with me," without knowing that he's actually being mind controlled.
I don't think Optimus has spent a lot of time on Cybertron because every time Optimus has come back, he said something about, well, I haven't actually made it there yet, or I spent very little time.
I got busy.
I don't think they ever got their hands on Optimus. I think it was more along the lines of, oh God, he's back, someone get rid of him. Like, this is like the one guy we can't mess with. He came back from the dead. He might be half dead.
We liked him a lot better when he was a statue.
We should maybe not try to mind control Robot Jesus, so let's just kind of send him off. Everyone else, we got rid of everyone else with a fetch quest. Let's do it for him too. Just bye.
You'll notice I'm not commenting.
Yeah,
That's
there's-
fine.
We don't want any spoilers.
I wouldn't give you any. However, no.
However, there are 2 more episodes.
There are indeed.
Yeah, no, when we go heavy into theory territory, I feel like we should just get you some popcorn so you can sit
Oh, this
there
is
and
great.
just be like,
It's the best. It's the best. I love the rampant speculation.
We'll just
That's
bring
like
out
our
murder
entire
board.
show.
I know.
we flipped the TV over and there's a murder board on the back.
Red
little
string
thing,
all
like, here
over
we
the
go.
Red string, purple string for when the cons are
on the other
involved.
Oh
side.
yeah,
This
that's the only
monitor.
reason why there's TV screens in here. They're all behind there.
And underneath this desk, we have
All the
plates of
evidence.
spaghetti that we just throw
Okay.
at the wall to
Yeah.
see what'll stick.
Took me a minute to figure out where the heck you were
Yeah.
going with that.
I already knew. As soon as she said spaghetti, I was like, well, I think I saw some just fly across the room.
I got excited because I thought you were going to feed me dinner.
I know. I think that's where it came from.
Yeah.
I'm just really
We're hungry.
excited.
Yeah.
Started talking about popcorn and my mind started to wander.
I made spaghetti for dinner anyway. Sorry.
And I find it interesting that after the council went the underhanded route and sent 5 Decepticons with now clean records after our main characters, and well, yeah, that worked super well. They wound up brainwashing police officers to do the same thing. They really want our protagonists out of the way.
Yeah.
But why though?
you would
greater good?
think them just being on Earth would suffice.
But Earth and Cybertron are inextricably linked. We
They are.
established this in Prime, and we haven't really gotten away from that.
Yeah, because I feel like if they were on a different planet, I think it would be a whole different scenario.
Maybe.
Yeah,
It's
if they were
clearly
out
something.
in backwater wherever, it
Yeah.
wouldn't matter. But Earth
No.
still has a giant Cybertronian at its core, and a whole bunch of Cybertronian technology
Yep.
still there.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
They are connected,
It's
so
just too valuable to just kind of like let a bunch of Autobots just run around. So
they let them run
Without
around
any
for
oversight.
4 seasons before it became a problem.
Well, because they still tried. They just didn't do a very good job.
As you pointed out, they keep sending people out on fetch quests, assuming they'll die, and then they keep not dying. So they're like, "Huh, we're gonna have to speed this this along a little.
I mean, they survived an entire war, but I can't figure out why they're not dying on a simple fetch quest. Why is this?
They sent the medic out to go and die. That's what I don't know. I don't know.
They did give him a sidekick
They did.
Who was adorable.
and non-vocal.
Also
But
okay.
adorable.
Oh, so adorable. Just, yeah.
Noticing a trend.
It's really. We need to hand you off the popcorn now.
No, I'm fine.
It's really hard not to come back to what is happening on Cybertron when we haven't blown it open in this episode, but we've pretty much hit on, there are problems. They're brainwashing police officers. They really want these 5 fairly innocuous operatives out of the way, and we don't know why. We don't know what they're up to.
But I'm glad that we at least also got like a little snippet, because I feel like if we went the last 3 episodes not knowing, I was like ready to table flip at this point in
The
time.
season ends and we're just like, well, something's happening on
What is happening?
Cybertron. When's the movie coming out?
Steeljaw's benefactors really do just have his best interest at heart. Maybe they're just like, oh, he's trying so hard.
Oh, that is not how that
Let's
works.
give him a planet to rule. He's worked so hard.
He seems like a nice guy.
He's been
Does
taking
he?
advantage
Yeah, I was
of-
like, I don't know.
Gold Star, you tried.
well, we make fun, but he's still, as far as we can tell, the last bot standing.
True.
Out of all of the people that have come out of the woodwork, the combiners,
Yes.
the guy who came back from a shadowy hell
Yeah.
dimension, he's no longer in the picture either. Like, Steeljaw, blowing out all expectations for him, is still here.
He's just trying to reign supreme.
Troy Baker.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's the power of Troy Baker. All hail Troy
the
Baker.
magical power of
Troy
Troy
Baker.
Baker.
We had a question in the chat a while ago when we were talking about voices. Did you create Steeljaw with Troy Baker in mind?
You know, I don't recall specifically. My memory is that we did not, and that Troy had actually been cast prior to my work on the series. So I don't remember exactly, or I don't know exactly how Troy came to be cast, but now I can't think of anybody else doing that voice.
Yeah, same.
Besides
Same.
Troy.
Same.
Yeah.
And after a while, just with all the other characters, you begin to write to the actor's voice and what the actor can do and what the actor can do really well. And that really shaped what Steeljaw became.
Yeah.
And now you hear that voice in your head, and it's just like the character pretty much writes himself now, because you just hear Troy's voice, which is kind of a scary thing.
Yeah.
To just suddenly hear Troy's voice. But
Just in general.
Where is he?
Troy will understand, I'm sure.
Probably gets that all the time.
Right. Probably.
Yeah.
He's like, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I know this was like a very minor thing, but because I'm such a huge fan of Grimlock, I really loved in the beginning of the episode where he fixed the sign because it was moving.
Yes!
And then he runs and he just smacks the sign with his tail, and I was just like, oh, that's my boy.
Very Grimlock, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I just like that we're able to we don't have to address it. It's just this tiny thing that you guys throw in there, and I'm just like, well, okay, we can go.
Oh, good. I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, Grimlock is the epitome of Gold Star. You tried, honey.
Hey, I'm okay with it. He's my golden boy. I'm okay.
talking about Grimlock, and we talked about it more in the last episode, but like bringing back Bulkhead, we have like the 2 best friends
The
that
best
anyone
wreckers.
could have. And I was really excited to see Bulkhead back. But when you guys are like looking at the story and the arc, and obviously you've got the big Bible from the previous series and everything like that was created. When you guys looked at what you wanted to do for this season, like what was the decision? Just like with Ratchet back in season 2, what was the decision to be like, okay, we're gonna bring back Ratchet, let's bring back Starscream, let's bring back Bulkhead.
It was really as simple a matter of, this was somebody that all of us really wanted to see. It was like, how can you do a series and not have Bulkhead show up at least once somewhere in there?
Yep.
And so
He is delightful.
once that decision was made, it was just a matter of finding the right opportunity to bring him in, and what role would he play, and how would he fit with the rest of our team. And it seemed like, oh, mentor for Grimlock. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense. And also made perfect sense to have them have a moment where they looked at each other and said, thinking really isn't our strong suit.
That was a thing of wonder and beauty.
It was just a
Yeah.
moment we had to have.
Yeah, no.
This is normally someone else's job.
that Bee had to sit up and wax poetic and then flop back over again. Like,
But it was fine. It was fine. But no, I really appreciate the fact that even though Grimlock is such a huge part of the team, and that he does a lot, and he's also kind of the heart of the team as well, it's also kind of nice to finally get him not on like a track, but the fact that he has somebody who can be like, hey, I love the fact that you punch stuff, but we should probably punch smarter and better.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a great reason to bring Bulkhead into the team. And we wanted to bring all kinds of characters back. Don't get me wrong. We love all of the characters that have appeared in the continuity. But we wanted them to appear only if it made organic sense to the larger story we were trying to tell.
Yeah.
And Bulkhead made sense for that. And he made sense in relationship to our other characters. So it was just a natural thing to have happen.
So does that mean that Grimlock has to teach Bulkhead how to make pretzels?
Yes!
You guys.
It's entirely possible.
Yay!
I'm telling you,
just
Denny
a
would
still.
make-
I'll take a still of just them trying to make pretzels because I love that episode so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'll tell Will that because, you know, Will wrote that episode.
Yes. And that just the scrapyard is outside a big city. He's making a tourist attraction with his pyramids of junk. He could sell giant pretzels.
Pretzels. I know.
They sell giant donuts at the Vatican. Why wouldn't you do giant pretzels at Crown City?
That's a fair point.
I love
I'll have
that.
to pass that on to Denny.
Please do.
I do worry about his cash flows, like a lot.
No,
Oh,
all the time.
World's worst businessman.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you feeding your kids? What's happening? Or kid, sorry, child. Because I'm like, you're not making any business. You're too busy saving the world.
Russell is dangerously underweight.
Oh no!
Wait, it's the girl's job to
He's
break
actually,
me. This is not
he's
right.
actually 17 in the show,
He
but
is.
he's so underfed. that
Child
he looks
Protective
like he's
Services has been out
13.
several times in between seasons. No, I'm just not really. No.
And y'all accuse me of going too dark.
No, that was it. I think I was in of all the time, all the seasons. Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. I do this once an episode.
Okay, good.
It's
Good,
fine.
good, good. I'm
It's,
glad
it's tradition for Katie, and sometimes even Megan, depending on the day, to break me through some
There-
sort of crazy theory, and you did it.
Good. I'm glad I'm fitting in.
There was a bit early this season where you got me real bad when Blur was hanging around.
Oh! Oh
I did
no.
not appreciate
Blur's her
that.
favorite. So, yeah.
And then in a different continuity, he met a horrifying end.
Yeah,
So
you jerk.
Oh my god, I actually cried a little bit. It's good stuff. Yeah. I love it.
So it's my job to host the show and break people.
Yeah.
And thank you for helping me out with that
You're
tonight.
doing pretty well.
I appreciate it.
You know, just as Bulkhead is the mentor to Grimlock, so I learned from him.
Oh no! Don't give her that.
Breaking people since 7 p.m. That's our story right here.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow! I had something to say, and I just completely.
I did too, and it's gone now.
It's got
to my
all
world,
right. Well,
everybody.
I don't know
let's
where it went.
talk about Steeljaw for a little bit
Yes,
then.
yes,
Okay.
Not that we haven't been already, but let's talk about
love
Steeljaw.
How still deeply entrenched in his goal he is. He's sitting here going, my
And that's where my palace
over
will
there."
be.
Which, I'm sorry, Steeljaw, there's better real estate than Crown City. That's just what I'm saying.
I've been trying to figure out where Crown City is. And it's actually relevant to something I'm doing later on down the line, but I've been looking at it going, you have a nuclear refinery, you have a place large enough for oil tankers to pull. Where do you
I
live?
believe we asked this at the top of the series.
Yeah.
And I'm just having trouble recalling where you
What
guys
state
said
is it in,
was.
aside from chaos?
I want to say it was the Midwest somewhere.
Yeah.
And remember, there's also a desert very close by.
And a forest,
and a
and
forest,
mountains,
and really
caves.
every kind of
So
territory. you need.
Springfield, where the Simpsons live.
Yeah.
There you go. That makes more sense.
See, I kind of figured like Northern California at this point, because if we assume that it's been summer for 4 seasons, which, what is the passage of time?
It's Phineas and Ferb
Yeah.
style. It's summer all the time.
Well,
It does feel like it's
Russell
been more
doesn't
than
go to school,
104 days.
apparently.
yeah. So like,
But then again, that could just be more evidence that Denny really is irresponsible.
We did
Or it's
wonder
not
that.
important enough to put in an episode.
We did wonder that at the beginning of the season because obviously the actor who's portraying him, Stuart, has grown up quite a bit since the show started. So we're like, has school started yet?
Dad, where are all the robots?
How long has Mom been in Copenhagen?
For those of you listening, because people listen on iTunes, Adam Beechen just made air quotes
No,
without comments.
those are scare quotes.
She's in Copenhagen, don't worry. She's in Copenhagen, she's just fine.
okay.
Everything's
She
okay.
probably
okay,
has
okay,
a better
okay,
business model for whatever it is she does than Denny does.
She sends a postcard at least once a year.
At least it's once a year. It could be worse.
That's right.
One
I
on
think
his birthday.
when the show started, the idea was that Crown City was sort of a rough analog to like Pittsburgh.
That was it.
Oh, that
that
makes
was
so
it.
much sense.
And as we realized we needed more diversity of location and different areas for stories to take place, we sort of fudged that a little bit and made it Anytown, USA, so that it's close to every possible microclimate you can possibly find.
Yep.
Yeah, it
That
makes
has
sense.
made placing it on a map really difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. And, you know, and originally the ground bridge was supposed to be the thing that facilitated them getting everywhere, and it made sense. But after a while, you can't show the ground bridge, you know, all the time
Yeah.
and then going from here to there. So they just sort of would leave the scrapyard and suddenly be in the middle of the New Mexico desert. And, you know, they're fast.
That is true.
That's it.
That is
That's
true.
pretty much enough.
There's been a lot of globetrotting in this series. Like, they hit the Arctic at one point. Yeah, the desert. I think they were in the tropical region, I think, at one point.
Yep, spring load.
Yeah, underground. They've been all over the place. So
Mm-hmm. The Alps.
So yeah, it makes sense not only to have a working ground bridge, but to place Crown City just in an area where basically anything could be the surrounding locations. As far as Crown City as a location, though, have you guys had a lot of fun seeing the development from, like, sort of kind of Pittsburgh to Anytown, USA? Because something we've enjoyed, for sure, is always just seeing the citizens of Crown City and seeing the things they do in their spare time and how nonchalantly they write off giant robots.
Well, I mean, our characters do try to create viable excuses for everything that possibly happens. They're the worst excuses.
I was like, sure.
I was gonna say, what's your
Ever.
definition of viable?
Right, yeah, but just enough that somebody could go, well, I guess.
Man.
But what's more fun for me is the fact that all the times that we show Crown City and there's just no one around. It's like, you know, that episode of The Twilight Zone where suddenly just everybody's gone. It's this big major metropolis and every facility is automated.
Yeah.
The automated dam, the automated nuclear power
Weren't you
plant.
saying?
The unemployment rates in this city
Yeah.
are through the roof.
Or the levels of independent wealth are through the roof and no one needs to work.
This is a place that
Oh, okay,
has
that makes more sense,
giant
actually.
dinosaur robot
Yeah,
fights
that's
true.
and
Yeah.
giant races as a matter of course.
Yeah, because the fact that you can shut down the entire city to have a city-wide race is kind of like that's a lot.
And that's why I think Denny
big
would be
race.
doing really
Yeah.
well with a tourist attraction in the scrapyard because obviously a lot of people come in here for robot fights and races and the Museum of Natural History and God knows what else.
Yeah.
Yep. The Crown City Colossus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just everything.
You know, it's been tough to come up with reasons why we have to explain away budgetary issues in production, and so the excuses get kind of silly, but they have to be, and so we just try to make that a point of comedy for the show.
I love it.
And I'm still banking on there being a fan club that knows and is just kind of
I think
remove the pictures from the internet, guys. This is our little thing.
I think oddly enough, my favorite excuse hasn't come from the bots, but I think my favorite excuse came from the teenager in one episode where like there was a fender bender and we were like, oh, we were just parked out in front of the house doing nothing.
Right. Yeah. The teenager was a favorite in the room, as was the hermit.
Hermit
I love him.
Tinfoil hat, yeah.
You're not aliens, that's too obvious. Okay.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
bye.
Right you are, good sir.
It's not the smartest city, Crown City.
But that's what gets me because I'm like, it's not the smartest city, but everything is automated. Is it because they're not the smartest city, or are they just lying? I don't understand.
I
The
feel
people
like
automated things and then left.
Yeah, is that what happened?
I feel like it's a lot like our modern society. We've got all these comforts and we don't think.
Oh.
I'm going with that.
What she said.
I'm going with
Yeah,
that.
because I wanted to know what happened to those kids that Denny was playing. No, Russell was
Russell.
playing with. Oh my god.
football
Trying
kids.
to. Yeah. What happened to them?
They're automated.
Only knowing Russell's luck that he would have robot friends.
Let me tell
So
you about
sad.
my robot friend.
They've all graduated and gone to college.
Oh.
Russell, however, you know.
Being underfed and homeschooled.
Oh no! It was actually
Russell
Denny
is
who's
actually
making
a
these
small
robots.
Cybertronian himself, and he doesn't know.
He's a mini con.
We're going
We're going full animated.
Oh, snap.
I'm okay with this, actually.
He's a protoform.
I'm fine with that. Wait. Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that.
I did like that. That was a good joke in this episode too. Like when they're trying to figure out Dropforge's password, and you're like, try his birthday. I mean, wait.
Right. No birthdays there. And then it wound up being his badge number. Like, oh, the second most obvious thing you could use. Okay.
But you have to know his badge number.
Yeah.
Strong arm.
Yeah.
Well, sure,
that's what
but
she's
yeah.
here for.
Exactly.
There's a reason that Google doesn't let you use any iteration of password or 1234 in your password anymore.
Password was
Well, I better change
Password
mine.
is password.
Tech support is my day job.
I
Like, this
know,
is the
I
bane
know.
of my existence. Can you tell me my password? No. No.
I'll do password 456. No one will see that coming.
And now we've broken Katie.
Megan, you're going to make me cry on air.
Now you know how it feels.
Cube of blur.
Oh,
Okay.
that's me.
It is
All
me.
right, okay.
It's genuinely
Supposed to be
mean
friends
me.
here. Let's talk about Adam.
Well, my password is.
No, wait. Go back. Back up.
The password is the council knows best.
No!
Oh, cute. Jeez.
I like this. This is good.
It's like the Sideshow Bob
I need to go to my
reaction.
safe place.
Sideshow Bob.
Need a music cue or something there. That'd be great.
Again, the more
Just
and
the
more
dramatic chords.
Uh-huh. Dun, dun, dun.
the more and more we talk about it, the more and more Crown City actually does sound like Springfield from The Simpsons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree
In
with
terms
that.
of the residents not being super smart, but it also being literally every town USA. I like that. I like that.
And what we have here in this episode is the gas plant to go with the water plant and the nuclear power plant and there's an
They
everything.
need so much energy.
Cities have utilities.
Yeah.
Come on.
And also the fact that, again, everything is automated.
And
you
there's
need
a
all
dam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
LADWP is making a killing.
Oh, hey,
I
man,
was
good for
gonna
that.
say-
Or CCDWP,
There
I
you go.
guess.
Yeah.
Department of Water and Power, yeah, I'm starting to think has like this terrible stranglehold on the rest of the town.
Well, not only that, but all of their facilities are incredibly vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just any robot from outer space could show up and take over one of these things.
I think that's the thing. Nobody's expecting the Spanish Inquisition, the robots from outer space. It just doesn't fit within their framework of reality.
That's
so
because
for a
our
hermit.
heroes have created such an airtight story around each of their interactions with the people of Crown City that no one is even thinking about the possibility of them being aliens.
Of course not.
I was gonna go with people are dumb, panicky animals, but I'll go with that too.
You say tomato.
I say giant robot.
Let's call the whole thing off.
With every excuse the team comes up with, the citizens of Crown City go, sounds legit.
Yep.
That checks out.
Yep.
And last episode, about 5 of them went to the waterfront and were like, so I want to rent those
I really want that exosuit, for sure.
Sure.
Why can we not?
I will say that out of all of the excuses, that one is slightly more believable.
Yeah.
That one you believe?
It's not that we believe it, it's that it's slightly more believable.
Okay.
In terms of like, because like the military makes like cool exoskeleton stuff.
I think they've used the excuse of having military exercises going on a couple of times.
Quite a
stuff
bit.
like that. Yeah.
Quite a bit.
It helps to have a police car there.
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
I think solar flare was
That was
oh
my
no,
favorite.
the solar flare!
Yeah, that was
Click.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Hence why Grim
Mayor
loves it.
Trujillo's office.
Yes, God. Mayor Trujillo's office.
Bless them.
Yeah, so we have a gas plant figuring heavily into this, and Steeljaw figuring out how to make it his own, because that's just kind of been the thing. I'll take over the dam. I'll take over the nuclear power plant. I'll take over the gas plant.
Well,
Utilities.
At
Yes,
first,
exactly.
At first, it was people. It was his benefactors telling him to do that. I guess the question now is whether or not he's acting autonomously.
Right.
At this point, probably.
Yeah, I would think so.
Renegade.
Yeah.
Renegade for life.
Like,
Just him outsmarting Bulkhead. Like, Bulkhead tries.
aw,
Hey man, he was
tries
doing.
so
He
hard.
did his
It
best.
was a good strategy.
Did his best. You know, dang cooking it. He did his best.
Did my best.
Good
I did
start.
my best.
And I think this isn't the first time we've had Steeljaw use the "join me or else consequences" line, but it's the first time in a while.
He's
that
out
we've
of
seen
friends.
that.
He's out of friends, guys. Cut him some slack.
They're literally Decepticons on ice.
Aw.
He's just like, literally, I have no one. Do you guys want to be my friends? You
guys wanna join my club?
I didn't
I've got
think so.
cookies.
That to
They're
me
burnt, but, you
felt
know.
a lot more like a desperate bargaining chip.
Yeah.
He's not tilted anymore, but he's not really in control of the situation as a whole.
Steeljaw is a pretty smart character on the whole. He's a terrible manager of subordinates. He also doesn't hire well.
No, the turnover is terrible.
Turnover is terrible, and he also doesn't hire the best quality applicants.
Yeah.
So while he fancies himself a leader, there are some questions as to how successful he would actually be should he actually ever accomplish his goal.
You know,
You need charisma to be a leader, but you don't need to be a leader to be charismatic. He's just charismatic.
Period.
much like I want to see Cybertronian lawyers, I also now want to see a Cybertronian HR rep, because that's exactly what Steeljaw needed. He needed a screening process. He needed to vet his subordinates.
That might
Uncle
be
PJ was better at that than him.
that might be the weirdest spin-off ever. Cybertron HR.
It would just be like The Office.
Good point, though.
Oh, that'd be really fun.
Oh my god,
That would
I
be
would
really
watch
fun.
Cybertronian The Office in an HR
Yes.
office of, I don't know.
You cut to the boring shot of the copier copying, and then the copier speaks.
And then the copier transforms and clocks out.
What?
Thanks.
But the, I mean, you bring up a good point. Thunderhoof was a lot better at that.
He was the leader of a gang. I think he was the leader of several gangs. Like he had his
depended
stuff
on the day.
down.
Yep, he had it down. It was business. It was business.
He even had a cult of humans when he showed up here.
And that
He did.
Yeah, Uncle PJ, I'm not proud of you about that. Just to be honest.
Oh, that to me was amazing.
Is that bad or is that proper delegating? I feel like it's proper delegating.
That
why
is
you're-
proper delegating.
Yeah.
Is that not how you delegate tasks at work?
Whoa.
Oh, that would explain a lot, actually. now that I think about
You
it.
get a cult to do it for you?
No,
Where do
no,
you work?
no. Uncle PJ works for Apple. Sorry, Uncle PJ. Oh, I feel like you're out of the loop. My Uncle PJ sounds like Thunderhoof. That's why.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, he has the same
Wow.
accent.
So
So,
everyone
he's
has-
from Boston.
Your
He
uncle
has-
is Frank Stallone.
actually
Hey.
kinda, yeah.
Wow.
The Filipino Frank Stallone.
All right.
It's weird.
And from the beginning, every Decepticon that's come on the show, we've given a ridiculous nickname to.
Yes.
And that has stuck
Yeah.
for Thunderhoof.
Okay.
Yeah, and my uncle is very proud. Oh man, I was very proud of the fact that he's like this giant Decepticon. And he's like, I will get things done, and I'm like, all right, okay, bring it back.
Dial it back.
Yeah, just a few notches.
Does he
It's
say
an anime.
Ayo?
So he used to when I was
Okay.
younger. He
All
doesn't
right.
do it anymore because apparently it doesn't work with the ladies anymore. So
But that's,
Thunderhoof has the same problem.
I was thinking the same thing.
but that's always been Steeljaw's problem. Is like he's a smooth talker, but he can never actually get anyone in line. He can never get anybody. He had to resort to using physical violence to get people to do what he wanted to do, which isn't how a proper, even a criminal organization is run.
See, he's Megatron without the prestige. Megatron came by his entire following organically. He had a cause. He had a reason for
True.
people to follow him.
True.
Steeljaw is like, I want to rule a planet.
Give me a planet.
arguably had a cause at first, but
It's so muddled now.
Now
has
he's just
long
tilted.
He's
Yeah.
long since lost sight of that. Or
Oh, yeah.
I think what he really wants has come to the fore. You start out by saying, I want to make a home world for all Decepticons, and then it's like, okay, who's going to lead them? Well, I will.
obviously me.
And that's really what he's all about.
Yeah.
Power for power's sake.
And the question of how much he really cares about fellow Decepticons is still somewhat up for grabs.
I thought we'd kind of answer that with a no. Just, nah.
The world's a mess, and I just need to rule it.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I
Word
think
for
that there's a
word.
part of him that believes he's doing it for other Decepticons. I think he's a little self-deluded.
That's a good
That's
point.
what I've always liked about him,
Yeah.
and what has always given. No, I mean,
Hence why
let's-
she's our Lord Megatron.
Why?
Autocorrect is why she's Lord Megatron.
I mean that, yes, but like at the same time, it also makes sense.
True.
But like. That's always what he's been very, and maybe if he wasn't voiced by Troy Baker, I wouldn't feel, I wouldn't be as attached to him as a character.
Troy Baker.
But that's something that I've always found interesting about him is there is this line of something you can empathize with of like, I just want a home for us. It's like, oh, that I can rule.
Oh, there it is. There it
There's
is.
the
Like
con.
that's the.
Got
But,
it.
All right,
the fact
got
that
it.
he's gotten himself to believe that is really interesting.
All right, well, we are getting the signal to wrap up, so we kind of need to bring this to a close. I think we've already done a lot of predictions, and it's mostly just like,
Yeah.
why though? Why Cybertron?
Throwing just questions up.
So
Yeah.
I guess just any final, just because obviously we don't want any spoilers as we said before, but any final thoughts on this season as a whole, or
On
as
the series as a whole.
as a whole?
Well, I'll say this about our finale, which is coming up, which is that obviously we're not going to be able to answer everybody's questions because some people have questions that probably can't be answered. But we do our best in the 2 episodes that are remaining to wrap up all of the big plot lines and story elements that are hanging out there in a way that we think makes good sense, that leaves the future in a place for the Transformers franchise that I think can be developed and taken further. And at the same time manages to give a lot of spotlights to a lot of different characters, and there's a lot of comedy as well as all of the action you're probably expecting.
All right.
Okay. I like that.
There you
Well,
go.
I'm looking forward to these next 2 weeks.
Well, so are we. Thank you guys for being so supportive of the show all the way along.
Yeah, we've enjoyed the heck out of this.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad.
I'm like ready to like binge watch all through it again. Like to be honest,
Feel
just
free.
relive it and cry the entire time.
The first 2.5 seasons are on Netflix.
I know. I've already technically started rewatching those already. It's
Girl.
part of my dinner watching. So yeah.
So, are there any projects that you're working on that you can tell us about?
No, I can't tell you about any of them. Unfortunately.
NDA.
That's the word.
Yeah.
I've
Totally
been
understand.
working on different projects here and there for different shows, some of which may or may not be robot related. But yes, none of them are at a point where I'm allowed to talk about them yet.
Totally understand.
So we'll keep an eye on your social medias then.
Please do. At Sonnova, SONNOVA is where to find me on Twitter.
Got it.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. It's
Thanks
been
for having
great.
me. Thank you guys
Thank you for giving us giant robots.
Yay!
Our pleasure.
Thank you for this show.
Yeah. No.
On
just
behalf
so-
of all of us, thank you.
Alexis, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me again all over social media at ATorres890. That's ATORRES890. Again, there is no lethal weapon tonight because of the World Series, so don't worry about it. We will be back next week. I think it's November 7th. So definitely tune in then. That's at 8 p.m. pretty much right after this show. So yeah.
Fun. I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. I write articles for the Movie Chick. Let's check with 2Ks. And I also do the voice of Margot Lane on the Shadow Radio Recreation, which is in the middle of its 2nd season. So be sure to check that out as well.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you are participating in NaNoWriMo, it's also that same name on the Nano site. So find me and we'll yell about writing all of this next month.
Oh,
We've also got a few. All of my shows are this week, and most of them are at 7 p.m., including Ruby. That is going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific. So tune in for that. That is going to be
RT
super
reviews.
fun. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Here's looking at you, Scoot.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.